1, go!
Welcome to the Set Count, your source for tournament results, storylines, and analytics set to the tune of your speakers. I am not your host. Well, one of your hosts. Not Vayseth, though. Vayseth is in Japan.
Vayseth is currently on a leave of absence in Tokyo.
Yeah, he commentated.
I saw that. It's really funny because, like, I tuned in because, you know, the Umebura Japan Major just happened this past weekend. Super crazy time schedule since they're on the other side of the planet. And I tuned into the MVG stream and it was like D1. Okay, cool. And then I heard like this very like raunchous, smoky, raspy, like Louis C.K. voice. And it was like Vayseth. I was so confused because he very graciously tells us like how he doesn't watch the game. So I was surprised to see him commentating, and he was like very satisfying.
Yeah, he actually didn't do bad. I think the biggest thing that he did well, like he didn't just scream and he didn't...
Nice back air.
Yeah, he did nice back air. And he has knowledge of the Japanese players, so that was really good. So I didn't mind him on mic. I thought he did pretty well.
Yeah.
Apparently the guy that they were supposed to have that was supposed to be their like second commentator had to back out last minute or something like that. I don't know. Vayseth will have a better story for us next week. And then we can have a full commentary-themed episode with him.
I am so happy. Well, okay. Getting back to square one.
Yes.
How have you been faring amongst the summer that's about to start and the spring that's about to end? Has it even cooled down or heated up at all? Has it heated up at all in Chicago?
No, it's garbage. It's like 50 degrees outside every day, and I'm actually starting to get kind of mad. It's like almost midway through May. I just want summertime.
Yeesh.
Is it warm for you?
In Connecticut, it was a nice 50 today. I mean, the sun's out, the flowers are out, so it's like kind of a little colder than I'd like. It's like not cardigan weather. It's definitely still zip-up hoodie weather. But yeah, I mean, summer's almost here, so we'll miss this when summer comes.
No, I will not. I love summertime. It's my jam. But anyways, guys, I am Sage. I realize we didn't introduce ourselves. Of course, I'm joined by Panda Global Suar.
How we doing?
I guess we should get right into it, right?
Yeah, so you have to do the Vayseth numbers bit into
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to do it in a really raspy and like silent voice. So it's time for the numbers.
It's time for the numbers.
Did I hit it right? Yeah? It's perfect.
So the numbers. This was quite the eventful weekend. Of course, the numbers cover the tournaments from yester weekend with entrants in excess of 100 people. We had the Umebura Japan Major taking place in Tokyo, Japan, with 478 people, which for perspective in Japan, that is a lot of people, especially because the first prize was a beanbag chair and a bag of rice and sake. Like, there's no pot money. There's no any of that. So that's like, they play for the purity of the game. So 478 people joined to get bopped by MK Leo and his Cloud Meta Knight combo. An extremely memorable reset, losing to Ken, the Sonic, in winners, and then coming back and resetting with a Game 5 Meta Knight in Grands, and then 3-0ing Ken with Meta Knight, which is kind of reminiscent of MK Leo's early Mr. R Mexico glory days when Meta Knight shook the tier list on its head, or turned the tier list on its head. Sorry, mixed my idiomatic expressions again. But yeah, congratulations to MK Leo taking Umebura Japan Major, also an A-tier event, as categorized by the PG Stats tier system. So congrats. Then we had Con Comics 2017 in Guadalajara, Mexico, with 182 people being beaten by the Reggie Game & Watch. Reggie's Game & Watch obviously making an appearance at Genesis 3, as we remember him, creating some really crazy plays with his down throw to toot toot, or getting a 9 here and there. But again, Reggie, congratulations. Glitch 3 in Baltimore, Maryland, the third iteration in the a little bit of the atypical tournament series that doesn't feature normal rules, but features a singles bracket in the classic tournament competitive standard, but also side events like the Amiibo tournament, which I don't know if you saw. It was wild. But 158 people.
They streamed the Amiibo tournament?
Yeah, yeah, they did. It was, you got to see it, but we can talk about that in a second. But Wadi won with his Mewtwo. Very decisive win in attendance with Mr. E and Captain Zach. So, of course, pretty good at the top level. Congratulations to Wadi. Gums 15 in New England in Natick, Massachusetts, taken by Mars. 119 people actually attending, which is funny because 119 Blessed is a New England meme. It's when... Have you heard about 119 Blessed?
I know of 119 Blessed. I learned of it during the first PG Key to the Big House, the first like online PG thing that happened, because Rafi was doing really well, and the whole chat was just 119 Blessed for like at one point, and I was just so confused.
For anyone that doesn't know, really quick, 119 Blessed in New England, if you're from New England, if you're at the percentage 119, you will survive one more engagement. However, if you're not from New England and you're at 119, you're actually going to be cursed and not survive the next engagement, whether it's a smash, a stage spike, a DBZ moment, a freaking, I don't know, Charmander coming out of Saffron City. We don't have that stage, but whatever, a stage hazard, like that sort of stuff, like 119 blesses what happens. So that's actually really funny. Congratulations to Mars with the Zero Suit taking it over everybody in New England. And then KSB 2017, which was the tournament sort of prefacing Umabura Japan Major, also taken by MK Leo with his Cloud Marth, 109 people. Similar to the Nairo Tokaigi 2017 tour, where he took the preceding tournament before Tokaigi, taking the Umabura Tokaigi qualifier. So I think we know that MK Leo and Nairo are Japan's kryptonite, it seems. Because no one else has been able to do that to that degree, except for Zero, but I don't remember too much of his Japanese attendance besides like invitationals.
Yeah, I mean, Zero does it to every scene, though, so like...
Yeah, okay, he's everybody's kryptonite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this weekend we touted 1,046 people. Obviously, there were more tournaments. I myself competed in a weekly of 11 people. So that didn't meet the threshold, obviously.
Still rocking it?
I actually lost my streak. But we don't need to talk about that right now.
No, who beat you?
I don't need to put that person on a pedestal right now because that's not what we're talking about. But I lost to the hometown pit hero. He previously had the streak before me. His name is Bronze. Very nice guy. And then I came and then took his streak for 2 weeks. And then he came and then he took it back. And so now I guess I have a nemesis, but it's like a 10-person weekly every Sunday, so it's like really funny.
It's your 10-person rival, man.
That's my rival, literally my rival. But it's fun. I mean, at least it's Pit and not like, I don't know, freaking Jigglypuff or something every week. So he plays Pit, and then I cheat with Sheik since frame data. But yeah. But moving into our main topic for the show, we're going to run through what a lot of people have been suggesting, implying, and just outright talking about on Smash social media, and that's the Smash 4 off-season. Basically a Smash off-season in general. I mean, it can definitely extend to Melee, but there has been a lot of buzz recently with the influx of just tournament after tournament, and top players really actually feeling burnt out and just unable to choose between events because so many are on top of each other, next to each other. I mean, we're seeing Twitter polls where someone's like, what event should I go to? And there's 4 options, and they're all great options. Like, people had to choose between Glitch, I think, and like Greninja Saga. They had to choose between, because they're in the same month, like weeks apart, and like
half the time the polls have the tournaments on like the same day.
Yeah. So on Twitter, there was talk about it, and I think it's interesting to sort of bring this to like a really close discussion because there's a couple components about it that we can kind of shed light to. So today's programming would include the Smash 4 off-season, what to do during the off-season, and also who determines the off-season. Whom. So starting into it, Sage, do you think there's a need for an off-season in Smash? Considering considering we're a tier 3.5 esport.
Tier like 2.9, almost there.
Oh, trigger.
I don't know. An off season, yes, it sounds good. I think Zero talked about it in one of his videos about Beto, when Beto was like first a thing. No, seriously, if you go back and he was talking about why he'll never, or one of the reasons that he'll never learn Beto and why he doesn't think it'll be prominent was because there's a lack of an off season. So you have to always be practicing and training in order to stay on top. And like you can't spend 3 months working on like a whole new control system because you'll just fall off for those like for a while because there is no off season.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we even see at Royal Flush like the seeding that they released a little bit ago. Royal Flush, by the way, is a A-tier event happening in New Jersey this weekend, actually. And Dabuz is a higher seed than Nairo, and Nairo beat him at Dreamland, but of course that Civil War win is still holding him high, and people have said that Nairo hasn't been competing too much lately because, like, you know, he streams so much and he works. But even just like that, a little dip, I mean, that seeding could prove to someone's detriment in tournament, and that's just like 2 weekends taken off. So imagine 3 months, like you'd be seeded like 30th easy.
Seeding's so hard. It's just like
That's stupid.
Dude takes a couple weeks off, so you put him 1 seed lower, and all of a sudden, like, their fans freak out. Why is he lower? Whatever. I don't know. I've always been the person that's like, you play who you're seeded into, and you just have to win.
Yeah, I mean, seeding is a careful art only because it can predict the health of the stream, because you have like a nice sort of query of what's to happen. But of course, no plan survives first encounter, so you can have like that guy Komoda beat Ally at Frostbite with Kirby, and then it ruins everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it makes it so that like Zero and Ally don't play round 2, which would just destroy the tournament. Like, losers bracket, everybody would place 2 placings behind what they should have, you know. So seeding
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yes.
It's weird when you get into top 8 seeding though, because like being 4th seed sounds good, but then you realize that you have to run into 0. Versus like if you're a 6 seed, now you don't have to run into 0 side till finals. In that scenario, what do you want? Do you want 6 seed? Do you want 4 seed? I don't know. Seeding's hard in a top 8 scenario, or even like for Super Majors top 16. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. So the need for it, right? So classical esports, right? The newly minted classical esports, since esports have really only been around for like almost 10 years, but the modern ones like League of Legends, I mean, they have an off season that kind of plays into their worlds, right? They have like a summer split, a spring split, and it seems that they don't play into the winter, right?
Yeah, I think Worlds, I may or may not be wrong on this. Like, I just watch League for fun. I don't really follow too much the system behind it. But if I'm correct, spring and summer split lead into like regional qualifier type things and like playoffs, and then playoffs lead into Worlds, and Worlds happens near fall region. And I want to say there's a chunk of weeks from it during winter in before the spring split starts of just an off season.
Yeah. Regardless of how much Sage might have butchered the league like LCS schedule, there is time where top players don't play, and they refine strategy, they innovate new strategy, they actually just relax for a second, you know, not being in a high octane competitive environment, and collect their thoughts. But right now, like we were just saying, if you take 2 weeks off, your seeding can go down by 2 or 3 if you're a top player. If you're a B tier player, I mean, forget it. Like, you don't even have seeding at that point. But, you know, we're having a tournament. I mean, we've been joking about it since the beginning of this podcast with oversaturation, but there is literally, like, formulaically, like a tournament every weekend in this game, whether it's a monthly or a major event or a national, right? So if it's like your neighborhood game store doing its monthly on the 3rd weekend, that's a tournament on a weekend. And that's one game store in the United States. There's dozens, if not hundreds, across the world. And then you got your big headlining events. So just taking a little slice, just taking a little peek at this June summer, we got June 3rd, actually on the same weekend, Battle of British Columbia. I think it's Battle of BC. I think it should be British Columbia, right? That there's no other
I think
thing.
so, but the tournament title is like, yeah, literally Battle of BC.
Yeah, it should stand for British Columbia. It could be like whatever. I don't know. British Columbia. It's in Canada. And
Bop
then
and Children.
that same weekend, Smash and Splash. So even on the same weekend, there's a tournament. And both of those, at least for Melee, Smash and Splash is a just hallmark event. I mean, it is widely attended. On the Melee side, you have like almost all the gods going. And on the Smash 4 side, you got a lot of good talent going as well. A lot of top 20 players. So that's an event in itself. And Battle of BC is also happening. So that's on the same weekend. So you can't even win on that one. 1 week after.
It's rough.
Yeah, 1 week after, June 10th, Nairo Saga. That is literally the bookend to the summer of Smash that 2GGC is commemorating Nairo on, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be a Civil War type thing where the points are worth double. The production is going to be freaking crazy and all that. And we saw what Civil War was like, so it would be exciting to see how Nairo Saga is like, but that's also 1 week after Smash and Splash. So to any player who was at the water park on Smash and Splash, they're already thinking after their pools about Nairo Saga, because that's the next week. And not even a week out after that, DreamHack is on June 17th. So what do you do as a top player? Do you attend all three? Do you attend one? Do you attend only Nairo Saga? Then you miss out on Smash and Splash?
We also forgot, actually. The week prior to Battle of BC and Smash and Splash is Combo Breaker and Momocon.
Whoa, boy. Okay, yeah, I didn't list those because that was in this month. Oh my god, we're in May. Oh my god, it's May, first of all.
I totally realized that like Momocon has a ton of players registered, and Combo Breaker in the same like 2-hour drive of Smash and Splash.
Jesus.
So like Combo Breaker a little more gets away with it, I think, because obviously FGC focused, but like Momocon too, like that's just insane.
Yeah, Momocon last year, I mean, we had Lord Mix getting like super. I don't know if you saw the set with him and Vinny. Vinny picked Rosalina, Lord Mix was Bowser, and Vinny just held jab at edge with Luma, and Lord Mix couldn't do anything. I think he went on his phone. It was really funny, but long story short, toxic. But play to win. But yeah, Momocon's a great event. Combo Breaker, an amazing event. Like that's gonna be awesome. So yeah, just take my example and make it 1 week earlier, and you have Combo Breaker or Momocon, then Battle of BC or Smash and Splash, then Nairo Saga, then DreamHack, week to week to week to week. This is something that obviously everybody's competing for the same thing. So entrance, top players, and views. Only one of these is really going to do well, and the other three are going to do okay. One of them not doing too well. I think DreamHack is the one that's going to take the hardest hit because it's right at the end and after Nairo Saga. So if you're burned out and you spent all your lunch money at Nairo Saga, you have nothing to go with at DreamHack.
It's weird though, because DreamHack has the largest pot.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we don't know. Nairo Saga might have like a random freaking, I don't know, like $20,000 pot. You never know, but they got money. You know, they got money.
Oh yeah, true. I forgot. It's Greninja Saga that they've did the $5,000 pot. I was thinking it was Nairo Saga. So just baseline, $6,500 pot bonus for both Smash and Splash and BC.
Oh wow.
Potentially huge pot bonus for Nairo Saga, and then $10,000 pot bonus for DreamHack.
The potential annual tuition for in-state undergrad in 3 weekends spent between 3 tournaments, not even counting Momocon or Combo Breaker the weekend before. But this is not even from like the TO perspective, the community organizer perspective, the blah blah blah. No, like burnout wise, that is just begging for it. I mean, how could you not be burned out even just going to 2 of those events like back to back? You know?
Yeah, it's a ton of traveling and stuff. So my question to you is, do you think there should be an off season?
I do, Sage. I think that what this sort of show wants to focus on is not should there be an off season, but how can there be an off season? Because if you look at it, let's have an off season. Okay, cool. Well, that means that we have to have a period of time that's sanctioned to be a, demilitarized zone where we're not going to compete. We're not going to, have this be quote unquote for the PGR, and it's just going to be an off season. But there's people that host tournaments the entire year. So who are we going to tell, or who's going to be told, hey, your tournament that you've been doing for the past like 2 years or whatever, Glitch or Momocon or Smash and Splashes during the off season, bro, like, can you not? Like, what are they supposed to do? Like, what event is supposed to happen?
And then, like, if that damages someone, they're just going to directly blame whoever was responsible for deciding the off season. I don't know. It's hard because, like, so many events are already planned, and, like, where do you step in the off season? But I also think it's interesting. I'd be curious to see. Obviously, we're talking about League, and, like, League being the only true dedicated off seasons that I see for games, for the most part, are team games with like
Christmas.
sanctioned leagues, right?
Yeah.
I know almost nothing about Hearthstone esports. It's one of the few esports that just like totally goes over my head. I just don't follow it. And I'd be curious, obviously, because it's a more single player focused game. I'd be curious if they have an off season as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all those sports recognize, or all those esports rather, even just translating into normal sports. I mean, the parallel is always dangerous to make because one is physical, one is mental. They're both mental, whatever, but obviously wear and tear on the body, watering and turfing grass and weather. But sports in general, like the culture of having the off season permits the longevity of the sport, the quality of the entertainment, the sort of, how players can endure. But as we're talking about, like, if we were to step in and make an off season, somebody would have to bite the bullet or someone would have to just roll over and die because you're not going to be able to host your tournament that you have people come to. So I think we've created this vicious cycle where, like, now all these tournaments have to happen because they've been happening, or because legacy, or because it's a new idea like Shine, and they need to continue happening because orgs depend on these tournaments for their livelihood. For example, like, can you imagine if they shut down like Xanadu monthlies? Like, I mean, that would really hurt VGBC. Like, or if they shut down like one of their like premier events, like that sort of stuff just sort of feeds into,
Right.
Oh no, we have to make tournaments because we have to keep everything afloat, and we have to keep everything afloat to have these tournaments. So
like everything in 2017 is so planned already, so you can't really jump in an off season at this point. So your next bet is like the easiest way if you wanted to implement one would just be like, all right, let's all sanction together and get all 40 tournament organizers who are trying to host majors right now to just be like, all right, from the month of May, or like let's say April to May, nothing counts for PGR. Host if you want. These are technically off-season events, right? Or ideally don't host. But even 2018 is like a lot of people are planning stuff right now. So do you jump to 2019?
Yeah.
Do you like? And at that point, do we even
Okay.
believe that the scene exists still?
Okay, this is like existential freefall right now, but like I
But
think
no, it just goes to show that like it's so saturated and it's hard to even make a change right now.
yeah, everything is so rooted in this really shaky foundation that, like, if you try to change it, it's like you're growing a plant and you keep changing the potted soil. Like, you can't do that over and over. It shocks the plant. And like we've been doing that with like putting so many saplings in it that it's just like begging for resources, and we can't keep changing how we're going to do things, whether it's adding customs, adding 3 stocks, banning Lilat. I mean, we're already seeing the effects of, making such brass changes on such, not whims, but like on such a pivot, you know what I mean? Like, to come
Yeah.
out with an off season for like, November or something. I mean, that'd be huge. And especially if like then we retract it, then it's like, who has any, validity anymore? Like, whether it's the
Yeah.
leadership.
Even if it was just like 2 week off seasons that happened like 3 times throughout the year, just like a little section where there's just not someone trying to be a national.
Yeah. And I think that, I think okay, the off season doesn't mean there can't be any tournaments, but that they just don't count for like, the PGR, like the global competitive scene. And I think that during that time there can still be events, and I think we can see this sort of SmashCon, Frostbite, Glitch, sort of event blossom in that environment, because SmashCon, for anyone that hasn't heard already, is now in its third iteration. Yeah, and it's been two already. So SmashCon was kind of advertised as this like more than a tournament. It's a convention. People gather. There's panels. There's YouTubers like Alpharad, Etika, Shofu. All these people come and like talk about content creation, talk about cosplaying. There's a bunch of cosplayers, community leaders, and it's just a big, big, big fun time. All the top players are there, so they're signing stuff. Zero, Nairo, to Buzz, everybody, and there's so much in attendance. The bracket for singles is pretty stacked, because all the top players that are doing panels then compete. But you also have like a great fun-filled weekend. It's a 4-day event. It's actually, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the only Smash 4-day event, because everything else is 3 days max.
Or as far as I know.
Yeah, and that's huge. It starts on a Thursday. I mean, the Thursday programming is light, but it's still programming. That's still a fourth day of a venue being reserved. And it's a great experience. But SmashCon has kind of had to position itself in such an odd way where like the last one had so much competition that, the next year has to have more competition because it's more and more prestigious, but like it still maintains its con identity. But I think during the off season, more things like that, like a MomoCon, SmashCon, like that would be perfect. Like you have that during the off season, and then if you want to play and compete.
Yeah, it's almost like you get to go as a top player, and it's almost like a vacation type thing where, I get to compete
Smash
as well.
the record. Smash the record can be stuck in with the off-season
yeah, that'd be
tournaments.
perfect, because like obviously we're not going to take the match that happens on it for ranking. So yeah, go to Smash the Record and play Donkey Kong all weekend for fun because you want to.
Yeah, and this is where it kind of makes me laugh, where like people are like, you should count locals PG stats. And it's like, you want us to literally extend the pressure that top players feel every weekend into their weeklies? Like, you really don't want Tweak going Donkey Kong at MSM just because he would never risk that if it was ranked. Like, you really don't want Void going Yoshi. Like, these top players get to experiment at their locals, and like, those are no-fly zones for that reason. Same thing with the off season. Like you can have Esam playing Samus for fun and then realizing, oh my god, this works, and then taking him out in tournament, which he's been able to do.
Right. You need a range somewhere to be able to practice. The other thing that I'd like to really see in an off season, and going back to the sports parallel that we had, I think this sports parallel makes a lot of sense in that the only time anything gets changed for sports rulings is during an off season. And obviously, we've been having so much discussion lately with like stage lists, Lilat banned, Lilat unbanned, Dreamland being mixed with Battlefield, and
coaching.
Now coaching and ledge grab limits now are being brought up.
Stop.
I know. I agree with you. That is, can we stop? Like, it happened once.
Chill.
It's like if a Jigglypuff won a major off rest, and they're like, ban rest. That's it.
Cloud only gets 4 limits per game, per set.
Mario can only up tilt you 4 times, then he has to do something else in the combo.
Like, off seasons are so important because not only do they allow for a player to rest, but also for the leadership to rest, for the publications to rest, I mean, not that we have many, but it really just gives perspective for a moment. It lets the dust settle, because as of now, like, if we were an Etch-a-Sketch, like, we never get a chance to like kind of regroup and like see, oh, what did we make? Are we headed towards a path of tragedy, or are we on the up and up? Like,
someone's just turning knobs constantly.
Literally,
it's just a 4-year-old in Target.
Our Etch-a-Sketch is a 4-year-old that found the bounce house in Target and took the Etch-a-Sketch in there. Like, it just isn't stopping anytime soon. And unless Big N or like Mom takes us out of the bounce house, like it's gonna continue. So like, off seasons are important. I think that cons would be could see that as an incredible opportunity. We would see new markets potentially for cons trying to make, like off-season tournaments their thing, you know, like maybe Shine can have a parallel, you know, whatever, like con tournament during that period of time. And also
Yeah.
like the leadership gets a moment to be like, okay, let's process the stage list once and for all. Let's, you know, let's take this and actually look at the data, look at the top player feedback, look at the local player feedback, look at the viewership. You know, do people tune out when it's Lilat? Do people tune in when it's Castle Siege? Like all that stuff. Like, you know, it can be measured. But
I like that idea a lot of like allowing, because right now every organizer that plans something is just like, it's a tournament. We're planning a tournament. And I feel like if there's an off season now, people have this range to like, let's try and do something that's not quite a tournament. Let's do like we have one Smash the Record type event and one Smash Con. And like, that's it. Like, why don't we have more of these events that people want to attend that are super fun, but aren't necessarily just there to go try and get top 8 and then spectate and then go home. Like there should be more of this.
And that is actually what's interesting, because those events have the lowest barrier to entry. They have no barrier to entry. I could take my girlfriend to SmashCon and she could enjoy it. But if I take my girlfriend to Qatar, well, one, not only is it a logistical nightmare, although they've been improving a lot, props to Qatar and Ed, but at the same time, like, she's just there and it's a tournament and I have to like either help out or do an analyst desk or run around, and it's not fun. It's not fun unless you're competing. But
and that's a whole new market that you get to access too. Like all of a sudden you're not just selling a tournament badge or whatever to some player, you're selling a spectator badge or just like a entry to the con or whatever to their friend that went with, or their girlfriend, or whatever.
Anybody, girlfriend, boyfriend, distant cousin that doesn't like Smash, but you take them, now they love Smash. Like, you can have so many more interactions. You can have so much more for the common, like, non-competitive person. Like, not everybody. I mean, we looked at it. Like, this season alone, there's nearly 5,000 active competitive players in the upper echelon of Smash, which includes all the PG Stats tournament tiered events. So 5,000 is not a lot to work with, especially since it's all around the world. But there's probably 5 times as that, because when you think of all those people's friends, their, you know, their close friends, their secondary friend, like outer circle friends that they run in with groups, their girlfriends or boyfriends, their brothers or sisters that they can bring to an event because they're not competing, boom. Your off season all of a sudden has higher numbers than your regular season, which is what it should be anyways.
Even that 13-year-old kid that, you know, likes to play Floor Glory and watches Genesis every year, all of a sudden he finds out about like some convention, and now his dad, who didn't want to take him to a tournament, is like, fine, at least we can walk around and do something for a day. That's another spectator badge that you just sold.
And parents are such an untapped market as well, because parents are the least appealed to in a tournament, naturally, because I mean, like, why would you? But like at a con, like, you get parents supporting the scene, that is big. You get a person who's guaranteed a ride at every tournament. You get a person who, I mean, if you look at some of the community figures that have moms that are super supportive, or dads, I know that Dynamo in SoCal, the Sheik player, has I think he has his mom and his dad like super invested in the SoCal scene. Supergirl Kel's mom is super invested in the scene as well, and they support it. They tell their friends about it. I mean, that's awesome.
Darkshad,
like,
his grandfather. Grandshad?
Damn.
He
Damn.
drives...
Are you serious?
No, that's literally, his name is Grandshad, and he like makes bets with the players from Ohio. He's like, if any player knocks like the number 1 seed out of a tournament from Ohio, I will pay them $100.
Yo, I mean, there's just so much lost opportunity because we're in here trying to get our super national esports tournaments that only get about 15,000 views and don't have the stage production or the commentary talent or the layout aesthetics of a major. And we keep shooting ourselves in the foot to try to achieve that. And I think like what you said the other week really stuck with me. People are waiting for this like 1,000 person League of Legends-esque production value tournament to just happen out of nowhere, and it's not going to happen like this. It's not going to happen with an off season or without an off season, but at the same time, like, we don't have the people to make that happen, to people to buy those tickets, the people to buy a jersey that says freaking Unrivaled Tournaments, VGBC, Anti, Nairo, like Mr. R. Like, we don't have that because we don't have that base getting the resources and events that they need or that they would want to go to. Because why would you want to go to Nairo Saga if you're not going to get money, if you're not a top player, if someone's not paying for you to go? Like, that is a tremendous expense for anybody compared to a con that's in a big city that they can go to for maybe 30, 40, 50 bucks for a ticket, but it's a 3-day pass and they get to meet Zero. They get to play fucking quads with their friends, 4-on-4, 3-on-3 amiibo tournaments. I mean, that's huge. That is huge.
I mean, at that point, you do top player quad raffle offs of like you and two friends have like Zero on your team or Nairo or whatever, whoever just like you got randomly matched up with or something.
You would have lines for that.
Yeah, you do a 9-year-old to like 14-year-old bracket only. All of a sudden, parents are bringing their kid and their friends who are like finally willing to compete because it's a bunch of kids in their same age range versus like a 12-year-old that shows up to a tournament and just gets stomped.
Exactly. I mean, that's the sort of space we need to make. It's not even a safe space. It's a space for community like that.
It's an untapped market.
Yeah, and not to say that like, oh, you make an off season, this is all gonna happen, but it's like, guys, like we have Combo Breaker, Momocon into Battle of BC, into Smash and Splash same weekend, into Nairo Saga, into DreamHack. Like, that is not healthy for the top players. Any of those events could have not happened or just been at another part of the year, but like again, like an actual break is...
And if there's an off season, I feel like you are going to see these organizations or these guys, like they are going to want to plan something that isn't a tournament. Because right now, if you do something like that on a day, like chances are someone's just going to put a tournament on top of it and just screw you over. So like you have to plan a tournament right now. There's no opportunity to plan anything else.
Exactly.
So I think you'd see more people jumping around to different opportunities and different ideas than just, hey, let's be the 41st tournament organizer that's trying to do a major this year.
There was actually, I don't know if you saw, I highly doubt you saw, but there was that Bravo Zulu festival that was happening in New England. Did you hear about that?
I heard about the festival. It was like an eSports focused thing, right?
Yeah. So it had a $10,000 pot bonus. Black Plague was invited. The buzz was going. I think Mr. E is East Coast, so Mars, Pug, canceled this weekend. It was set for, I believe, this weekend or maybe the week after. Canceled because not enough entrants. The organizers didn't see the tournament being a success due to the numbers, and they had to pick up shop and go. I mean, that's just symptomatic already of just the oversaturation. But again, like, why are we forcing more tournaments into the calendar year instead of, scheduling healthily and sustainably? Like,
right. And you want that crazy 1,000-person esport event? Like a sloppy mess of tournaments is not the way to go.
Exactly. And that one event that is going to give us this stage and this exposure, DreamHack, will probably only have 180 people go right after Nairo Saga. Just because, like, how can you miss Nairo Saga? Again, like, so moving on to the third leg of the race, who would determine the off season? Because that's another point of contention, because right now, if you were to be somebody who wanted to get into the scene and you ask who's boss, like, you'd get 5 different answers right now, wouldn't you?
Or you would just be like, what do you mean, boss? Somebody would just look at you weird, like, what do you mean?
There is no hive mind that you speak of.
Yeah, so we talked about it a little already.
Gears of War has the Coalition, right?
Yes, so Microsoft supports the Coalition. League of Legends has the LCS / I forget what the Asian version is called. It's not LCS, but it's something like that. So, like, there are these organizations that decide the rules, decide the off-season, decide everything, right? Like, at least schedule-wise. And there's nothing like that for Smash. So that would be a nice thing to actually have exist.
Yeah. I mean, there's the joke of, like, the Smash Illuminati, but, I mean, there isn't really anybody, like, super, super secret. I mean, like, D1 D1's the Chamber of Secrets because he has to handle the tournament calendar because of Twitch, and he's like not the Smash 4 community manager, but if anything, the Smash in general ambassador. So again, but he can't make decisions like that, you know?
And you wanna talk about the Smash Illuminati? Like, I know a lot of people in the supposed Smash Illuminati. 90% of the time, it's just memes. That the Illuminati chat is just either dead or they're just posting stupid memes. There's your Smash Illuminati.
Yeah, there's no core central leadership that I know of that I mean, there's literally none. If anything, there's just different camps around the world right now that kind of like, you know, kind of, I don't know, put out their own agenda and like kind of help each other, but nobody is outright in charge. Like, nobody is dictating anything at all. Everybody's doing their own thing. Even PG Stats. Like, I picked the dates for when it's going to be released. I picked the dates when it's going to stop and end for the seasons just because it's like half a year. And I picked it next to CEO and Evo. Like, that was just me, but that's just the PGR, you know? Like, nothing else feeds into that. But you did mention what, Nintendo determining the off season?
I mean, that's the idea. That's the dream, right? That Nintendo jumps in the game and is like, here's a bunch of money. Here's the like how we want to format everything. Put your community members in lead roles, and like, let's go. Let's all make Smash really cool. Right? Like some guy just
so
the
idealist.
Nintendo fairy comes down and slides an esport under your pillow.
An esport under your pillow. Wow. I mean, yeah, that so with Nintendo, because I don't know if you saw this, but today being Monday, the 8th of May, Mortal Kombat announced its league. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Or not Mortal Kombat, Injustice 2, my bad.
NetherRealm, yeah, Injustice 2.
$600,000 pot. So already 2 GGCs. Already more information as to what it is than 2 GGCs put out. LOL, jokes. But yeah, that's a thing, and that's definitely going to determine when events are happening, when events are not going to happen, and who's going to stay home when. Because holy damn, 600 big ones? Like, wow, Sonic Fox he's got a free ride to grad school now because he already got his free ride to undergrad. Like,
The man's about to retire. One year.
Literally, he's like not even older than my bike. Like, Jesus.
It's funny. I have a friend that works at NetherRealm, and he's like, he always talks about it. Like, Sonic Fox made more money playing
Than I
in
did.
a year than I did making the game that he's winning.
Wow. How the royal rule. But, like, yeah, I mean, they're super going to be in cahoots with, like, you know, the Hadu and people.
I mean, you had a bunch of organizers already tweeting, like, my event is a part of their circuit.
Yeah.
They gave us $20,000. They gave us whatever.
Totally, I'm crying myself to sleep thinking about how we don't have this. Totally just awesome. Symbiotic, organic, just match made in heaven. So, yes, ideally Nintendo would determine the off season, but we don't have Nintendo. And then ideally the coalition that we have that we don't would determine the off season. So, people sort of like said, well, what about when the PGR? Like, why doesn't PG Stats determine the off season? And it's like, no, because we're a reflection of what's going on. So if there's 3 tournaments a year, those 3 tournaments are going to be PGR'd. If there's 3,000 tournaments a year, well, we're going to have to break our backs ranking those. But
And like,
I don't think we're in the agency to like determine that, because like we talked about earlier in the episode, I don't want to have to tell somebody, hey, your event that you spent like 7 months planning and reserved your venue and got 3 top players to fly out to and all the spectator badges that you printed and all the stuff that you got ready, it's actually not going to be a PGR event. Sorry. Thanks.
yeah, the social media backlash for that would just be
Done.
I mean, get your popcorn
Done.
ready. Like, Twitter's about to land on fire.
Me crucified. PG Stats in shambles, actually. PGR, like, never to happen again.
Could you imagine if that
it would
happened,
like
like
implode the community? Because ironically, like, yes, the PGR is a reflection of the community, but the PGR is also like a compass for a lot of the outside orgs and teams for the community to understand what the hell we're doing. And if the PGR just dipped, like, that would cause all sorts of problems. So we don't need to be in the business of determining an off season, because that's just not our purview. I mean, that's just not what we need to be doing. I'm not even qualified to do any of that. I don't think anyone is, honestly. But at the same time, it kind of begs the question more and more: where's our leadership? Where's our central head? We don't have one. We're waiting for Nintendo. Is Nintendo gonna come? We don't know.
So yeah, it would be so hard right now to see a central head form without everybody being on the same page, because at some point somebody's gonna be like, well, I wanted to run an event during that, and I want it to be like PR eligible, and I don't know. You're gonna get a lot of complaints. You're gonna get a lot of argument. I mean, even like a committee tried to form to fix the rule set, and look at the backlash that got.
To be fair, that community was 15 people, of which 11 were American. So it was kind of like, yes, rooted in good intentions, but good intentions did not build the world. So it kind of sucked, because they were trying to do the thing, but then a lot of people took it as like a slight, because they were like, whoa, well, who died and made you queen? But it's like, well, I mean, who was going to do it?
Yeah, could you imagine if that started now, and like for planning events, and like 15 people, 20 people stepped up and be like, all right, guys, now if you want to run an event and have it be sanctioned in the Smash League or whatever you want to call it, you have to run it through us. And then all of a sudden, like 40 other people are going to be like, well, who are you? Why do we have to go through you? I'm just going to run it anyways.
What if I don't like us? Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, exactly.
It's too many hands in the cookie jar, too many egos at once. It's also a children's party game, and that always brings the meme over and over. It's just tough, and I think that we desperately need an off season. We desperately need a reformatting and leadership, but we also need to survive this year. And on that path to doing so, like it's unfortunately going to be on the back burner, because there can't be an off season for the rest of the year, because 2GGC is already happening each month for the rest of the year. With an extra April Saga cancellation that's going to be reimbursed later in another tournament. Maybe two GGCs in 1 month. I don't know. But again, so there already can't be one this year. So we're looking to next year. But it's already May. So there's a lot of venue reservations for anything that's happening in January, for anything that's happening in February, for anything that's happening in March. So pick your poison, if it's going to happen, it'd have to be in 2018. 2018 is in literally 7 months.
If you don't see an off-season or this figurehead form by like July, August, then you're basically doomed to just accept that it won't happen until 2019. In my mind, that's just a personal thing.
Before we get into the run back, my only egg in any basket is just E3. And if E3 confirms my wildest dreams, then we have a better shot towards maybe having those conversations on a more official scale when we partner with Nintendo into creating the sort of competitive esports landscape that we would like, which would include an off season. But for now, goodbye. It's a pipe dream. It's a pipe dream like everything else in this scene. It's a pipe dream like having casters be paid a commensurable rate to their talent. It's a pipe dream like having entrants proportional to the event cost. It's a pipe dream like having an actual analyst desk at an event. It's a pipe dream like having streamers and layouts be made to a professional standard. It's a pipe dream like everything else that's on this grassroots stage that we're having with our growing pains. And we're going to need that structural support from the outset if we're able to enact any of those things, including an off season.
Yeah. I think that sums it up pretty well. So how about we jump it over to the run back?
All right.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. The run back.
Run back.
I hate you, but I love you. I'll open up because I think this question ties up this section pretty well. All right. So, really quick, the run back is just our viewer mail.
Yes.
Right? That out of the way. Let's jump into it. So, we got Wigwag. So, Wigwag writes, Hey everyone, Wigwag here again with the discussion about making a coalition in order to unite the Smash community and avoid saturation going forward so majors can be planned out well. I had a thought that perhaps Panda Global could become that Coalition. Uh, the organization has a big hand in the life of Smash so far with PG Stats, Bear doing a lot of TOing, and the wider community, and I thought that it would be another way they could contribute to Smash. It might not be completely realistic, it's not, but it could be a good existing organization that could work as the coalition Smash needs, and I wanted to hear what you thought about it. Thanks much, Nathan Wigwag Wegner. I hate saying that name, but I love saying it because it's a tongue twister. All right, first of all, young man, we do not need to get in the business of involving my org in any of that mess because that is a huge undertaking. And also political and huge conflicts of interest. All of a sudden, you're ranking and TOing and we're the coalition. That is begging for impeachment, to be honest. that is Monarchy. That is so much conflict of interest. Like Trump is just blindsided by that. Like that's just yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying, Wigwag, Nathan Wegner, but it's just the thing about the coalition is that it needs to be apolitical, and
right, it needs to just exist outside of an org.
Yeah, like if it was VGBC, like that'd be a problem. If it was 2GG, that would be a problem. If it was Unrivaled, that'd be a problem. If it was Nairo Zero and DeBuzz, that would be a problem. But like, like Panda Global, yeah, okay, there's a lot of lifeblood that we've donated to the scene, but like we're saying, it needs to be apolitical. I mean, it cannot be PG.
Yeah, it'd have to be, like, Panda Global could be involved. Like, sure. You might be able to have Alan or...
You can have ambassadors from each person, like a PG, a VGBC, a 2GG, a UR, Smash United, whatever.
So, if you're going to do a coalition type thing, or an Illuminati, or whatever you want to call it, LCS, a league, something, like, it's going to have to be alongside everyone, because like, could you imagine if tomorrow Panda Global is just like, hey, we're deciding the majors from now on, guys, send your dates our way. Like, people would like laugh at you.
Okay, one, they'd listen, but two, that would cause so much turmoil at the top being just dumb Twitter Smash e-fame leaders, that it would just cause so much strife. It would just be awful. Like it would just be like political suicide, class suicide, like unneeded stress. Just it would be awful.
It has to be a community-wide effort among heads of either multiple organizations or prominent people that don't necessarily have their hand in one specific thing. I don't know. You have to. It can't just be a one org.
The issue with that is that because we're grassroots and we're all breaking our backs to make this unrealistic scenario continue, is that you can't have anybody that doesn't have their hand in something that isn't important or involved. You know what I mean? Like, if it's me, I'm making the PGR. If it's Bear, he's doing all these tournaments. If it's Gimmer, he's doing all these streams. Like, you're not going to get anybody who's like a bureaucrat or a lobbyist all of a sudden be a part of the coalition, because those people don't exist in our community that also have a vested interest at the top. You know what I mean? Like,
right. And Smashers are so fickle with who they appreciate and what events they want to go to and whatnot. So if you've never done anything,
oh, you're going to get flamed.
Yeah, like people are going to be like, who are you? Why should we listen to you?
Literally, it'd be like the 4th round of the Greninja Saga Twitter poll where I was seeing Greninjas that I didn't even hear about ever in my life before. Like, you would be flamed by the entire community. Like, it'd be over. It'd be over. But
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard.
Like everything, it's tough. That's the sage motto. But yeah, thank you, Wigwag, Nathan Wegner. We'll go to the next question. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, so Clark emails us at secount@gmail.com. Little plug. Hey guys, love the podcast and all the work you do for this community. As a TO, streamer, etc., what do you think are some of the most impressive tournaments that have been run that you were directly involved in? For example, Frostbite, Frame Perfect Series 2, etc., on the Smash 4 side of things. Also, what are some of the most impressive tournaments you've seen that you aren't directly involved in? When I say impressive, I don't mean brackets, I mean how smoothly it was run, how the camera shots looked, staging, lighting, overlays, etc. Thanks, tag is Clark, and I'm from the Chicago region. Thank
And
you,
you
Clark.
don't know who he is, and you're in the Chicago region?
I might have met him,
You're
to be
an awful
honest.
person.
No, I am actually so bad at names.
Then never be a teacher.
I used to coach lacrosse, and it would take me like half
You
the season.
coached lacrosse?
Yeah, I was like a top 30 goalie
Top
in
five?
the nation. Top 5.
What? What?
Yeah, my save percentage was like actually outrageous.
Anyways.
No, I was really good. Anyways, after high school, I coached lacrosse, and it used to take me like 2 months to learn the entire team's name of like 20 kids. I was bad. But getting on into this, tournaments that we've seen that we thought were excellent, that we were directly involved with, not necessarily from the hype of the tournament or whatever, but just how everything ran and looked and how it was working with them. Suar, you wanna give this one a shot first?
You can start.
Okay. So, staging wise, I would say Civil War obviously was great. My big complaint about Civil War was that because a lot of things had to be done by 8 for the music to come on, it meant that we just got like an unlit stage outside. But when you go back and watch the crew battle, the stage when it was lit was amazing.
Yeah.
So Civil War, definitely really good production value. I think they could have used a lot more in terms of like graphics and information displayed and things like that. But from just the cameras and the lighting for the stage, excellent.
It was the most ambitious Smash operation to date.
Yeah, and we actually haven't heard. It would be interesting if they ever put out their numbers like, hey, here's what we made or here's what we lost.
Good luck.
Similar to a Shine or a CO Dreamland.
Well, whatever.
And then I actually think the other one that I'm going to go with for staging, UGC was really, really great for staging.
Yeah, I figured.
Stage was a little small to put 2 games on, unfortunately, but I think it was just a nature of being in the region that we were in of St. Louis. It's like it's hard to find a really nice venue for that. So UGC definitely up there. And then little secret one that not a lot of people think about. I'm going to say Combo Breaker. If you've never been to Combo Breaker, if you haven't tuned in, the venue is gorgeous. It's where they used to host MLG Chicago. And they hire out to the guy who runs Frosty Faustings. He's actually a lighting technician who does just like stage lighting. And he does all of Combo Breaker's lightings across every stage. And it's amazing. It is the best lighting in Smash tournaments right now, short of like Evo.
It's like a Christmas wonderland.
Yeah, it's so cool. They have the game names for top 8, like on the side of the main stage. They have 2 LED panels, and it says like the game name. So it's like Skull Girls or like Mortal Kombat or whatever. Like it's just really cool.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that Combo Breaker is just like such a nice, nicely well-oiled machine, really. And that's headed by the Hadu. And he's an awesome community leader for the FGC. So check out Combo Breaker if you haven't already. For me, though, my top 3 really quick, because we're now hitting an hour just on time. First, I want to say Shine. Shine 2016 has a special place in my heart because not only was I this backstage manager for it, I was also there for the whole like VIP room drama, which was like a joke. There was no VIP room. There was no hookers and coke on a strip pole, anything. There was free water, but that was it.
Where's that Smash event, man? The hookers and coke?
That's a glitch side event. But yeah, so Shine 2016 was special to me because not only was it at a beautiful venue on the water in the Boston Harbor, literally where the Tea Party happened. Shout out to the Independence Revolution. It was just so cool in how it catered to its patrons. There was these brackets called Shift Your Lane, where if you got knocked out of the main bracket, you got to participate in these smaller tournaments, and it kept track of your progress, and you were able to just keep playing. And there was like a multitude of setups. There were so many setups that there weren't setups being used. That's when you know you have so many setups. And there were a lot of people, so it wasn't like it was empty. But it just really created a well-rounded tournament experience. Even if you weren't there, if you were tuning into the stream, they had raffles to the stream Twitch viewers. Like, it was so cool. And it was also like really big and nicely lit. The scheduling was perfect. It was run by the tightest team of tournament organizers I've seen to date, personally at least. Like nothing was late, everything was early, everything ended on time. And so Big Blue Esports, shout out to Shidang, like such an awesome job. And they also were in and around the people. So they would ask you, how are you? How do you like things? And they were just asking. Like so many times TOs are just like behind a desk, behind a million clipboards, and they're barking and they're mean because there's so much stress and they have to get things done. But they were on it. They were just on it. So Shine 2016 definitely incredible time, and it's going to be even better this year. A second is PAX Arena, which is just an 8-person invitational at PAX East 2017. The production value was bananas. Totally undeserving of it, in my opinion. It was just like, it was so out of control. Like, I don't know if you saw the stream, but it was just like, there is literally $500,000 of equipment in this. This is out of control. But Blur, Crimson Blur, and D1 and whoever in Twitch got the magic hookup, and we had PAX Arena. Last year, it was like held in one of the side rooms, and like my actual friend won it. Like, it was not anything like this year where there was 10,000 on the line and zero and DeBuzz and everybody coming. It was like a side event. That was it. It was just that. So that was cool. And just the terms of like, wow, this is what an invitational can be like. This is what spectators are like, because there was also a lot of like people walking by and staying and standing and sitting and cheering for people they didn't know. I brought my girlfriend and her friend who lived in Boston, and they sat and they watched, and like, because it was at like a expo type event, TK and EE and Gunblade and D1 commentated more to like appeal to the lowest common denominator, because like, you know, they're not going to talk about like perfect pivoting and stuff like that. I mean, they did, but like, you know when they commentate like different tones of events, like how you commentate a Smash Con versus how you commentate a Genesis, you know?
Right.
Like,
I mean, you try to appeal to people who maybe don't know.
exactly.
Do you remember like Apex, I think 2015 did that on Screw Attack? It
I
was
don't
like
even
some
know
random
what that is.
Dude, okay. I remember the first Apex for when Smash 4 came out.
2015.
I want to say it was Apex. I think it was Apex.
I remember Disney XD was there. They interviewed Nakat. Like, there was a lot of buzz over there about that.
No, there was one tournament did this. There were 2 streams. There was the main stream, and there was a side stream. I want to say it had some of the same matches going on, and it was this guy from Screw Attack commentating with Max Ketchum, and the goal was to like educate people as to like what Smash was. And I remember Max was doing a really good job, and then the guy from Screw Attack was just like yelling, and it was really cringy.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely important to attract new people, and PAX definitely did that. My girlfriend and her friend loved Larry Lur just because they loved saying his name. And they were like, is he the Fox guy? I was like, yeah. And they're like, awesome. And then he'd like get Fair to footstool, and they'd be like, why can he do that? He died at 10. And I'm like, Fox is honest. That's what happens. But yeah, Shine, PAX 2017, and actually Frostbite. I really enjoyed how close-knit it was, and also just the carefully curated batch of internationals that we had from Japan. It was just very cool. The side events were cool. The stream experience was nice. The analyst desk being personally on it was nice, obviously. But also just like the general tone of the tournament, the hype on that grand finals was out of control. The entire top 8. I mean, it was, you could feel every beat. So that was
crowd at
just
Frostbite
like,
was definitely my favorite crowd.
yeah.
It's not even like, I mean, the tournament was
tiny.
smaller. It was like 300 something people.
Tiny, dude. Like, it was tiny, but it was perfect.
Yeah, it just like it had that homegrown feel where it was like everyone is here because they love Smash and they're just enjoying grand finals.
Yeah, but you know, impressive, like you asked Clark, is hard to answer, because at the end of the day, the only event out of any of the ones we talked about, UGC and PAX East Arena are the only ones that had serious production value, and Civil War. And those are just 3 events that have happened in the past like 2 years. Like serious concerted production value, serious staging, serious, you know, efforts to make commentary great again. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
That's
you take a
rare.
look at UGC where they had trussing and it was lit up stage with slim pars and everything like that. Civil War had this whole outside stage with LED walls, and then PAX obviously with all their lighting
Everything.
equipment for
They had
whole
a gym.
expo.
They had a jib, an
Dude,
actual
jibs,
jib.
jibs are hype.
Which
UGC also
is-
had a jib.
Yeah, which for anyone that doesn't know, it's like a crane that you put a camera on, and you can get those like swooping angles when like someone walks out on the stage. It's amazing.
Yeah, versus
It's
Civil
like
War.
Sage's wet dream.
I love jibs. I love working with them. Civil War instead had a camera on a wire that was like motorized that you can drive back and forth. That's how they got those like flyover shots.
Still cool. Still cool.
Awesome. That's actually more, I mean, slightly more impressive / slightly different than a jib. Very, very different kind of shot style,
Yeah.
but still awesome. And then, so like you have all these events with, beautiful lighting and they're really invested in the spectator experience. And then you have other stuff that happens, afterwards. Like you would think that everyone would want to one-up each other, but then you have stuff happen like CEO Dreamland where, like, not to put anyone on blast, but that stage did not look good.
Yeah, I'll be honest. After seeing all the hard work that was put into the wispy tree, after seeing it with the backdrop that was kind of wrinkled,
Dude, it looked like a bed sheet.
yeah, it didn't achieve the grand effect, which isn't to knock it. It's just really just like, I mean, when you see something like, maybe if that happened like 2 years ago, it'd be really cool, but I don't know. People are just they expect more now. So it sucks for sure.
I think it would have been more appealing had the backdrop covered the whole stage. Just kind of like stopped halfway through.
Yeah, but again, those are all things that happen. But that'll wrap it up for the run back. Thank you again to our two questioners, Clark and Wigwag. That'll pretty much tie things up.
Yeah, as always, guys, if you want to hit us up with some more run back questions, our bank is looking really solid now. I think we got like 8 or 9 questions we haven't answered yet. So Regnilla coming through with the most recent one. So, of course, guys, you can send us either a DM on Twitter at @thesetcount or email us at thesetcount@gmail.com. Or if you want your question to be 140 characters long, tweet at us.
Yeah. As always, it's been... That was your cue.
That was the throw? I was like, I thought you just lost your train of thought. Like, as always, it's been fun or something like that. I was like, dude, I know there's an adjective you're looking for.
Cut us out.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we appreciate the support. You can find us on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or I'm missing one. TuneIn. There we go. So find us there. If you want any other platforms, definitely hit us up. We'll try to get it done. This has been one of your hosts, Sage.
And your other host, Suar.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Come